All right. What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody is having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we are going to be kicking it off over here on Mr. VIX because I do think this is, one of the most important charts I want to keep in the back of my mind going into next week. All right. Guys, we did get some very bullish closes across the board. I'm going to point it out. We're going to go over the indices. We're going to go over the mega caps, the chip stocks, some of the Bitcoin stocks. And then I have about 10 trade ideas going into the following week just for you. We're going to start off here with the VIX because I think this is, telling us that we could be a little cautious going into this week. And we can, not be surprised if indices start to pull back to start off the week. And then you end up getting bought up by the end of the week. Okay. So over here on VIX, daily RSI, points out in the last video, it is coming down to that spot again, just like it bounced exactly over there. Okay. 3380. Coming down to that spot where over the last 20 years, every single time, except for this one time over here. Okay. Just except for this one time where SPY then ripped 10%. Okay, between, a 30-day period here, that you get Mr. VIX starting to bounce back, or at least, starting to get these little bounces that put in divergences, and then you start seeing it bounce back at this one spot. It's happened for 20 years now. So I don't think it's something just to, brush over, okay? Every single time you see that, you get that little spike over there, okay? I'm not saying you don't get exactly this where you spike for a few days and then you get crushed down to new low. I'm not saying that doesn't happen at all because I do think that will be the case. Okay. If we pull back, I think it's going to be a buying opportunity. I think it is going to get eaten up, just like, we were watching this most recent pullback. Okay. But it is definitely something that we should keep in the back of our minds because VIX is probably going to be bouncing with how it looks right now. It is probably going to be the case. Okay. Come down to the hourly time frame, and you can see that VIX does have the bullish divergence in here on the hourly RSI, as well as the daily bullish divergence that we just printed over here on the daily RSI. Okay, so if this thing bounces, the indices should pull back, and that's not a reason to get all worried. I'm going to point out we have a lot of bullish charts. The mega caps are looking pretty bullish going into next week and the coming weeks. But I thought I would start the video off with this just to make it very clear that if you do see that pullback, it is a buying opportunity. We talked about it ahead of time. I don't think, the market just topped or anything. We don't have anything signaling that the market just topped. Okay. Now we're going to move over here to SPY. Guys, it was a short week, so we did have, lower volume in the week. We'll come over here, the weekly candle chart over here. I will point out decreasing volume. Take off all the clutter here. Guys, we did get a bullish close over here. You closed out with a hammer. Okay. But again, I am completely open to you getting a little pullback over here to start off the week. And, I think that could very well be bought up. Okay. Now coming back over here, we're going to put off on all of our levels, all of our clutter again. Guys, if VIX ends up getting a little bouncy bounce action, okay, we're decently far from this daily 9 over here. I would not be surprised to pull back to in between 597.28 and 617. All right. So if I was just to put a circle right here, okay, daily 9 is going to be like right over here if we test this on Monday. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to start calling for tops and stuff like that. And I'm just going to remind everyone, hey, we talked about this ahead of time. No need to lose your pants over it. Okay. We have a lot of bullish closes this week. So we're going to talk about it, especially on the chips. We got Mr. Tessie over there. Tesla's looking mighty fine. Things are looking mighty fine right now. Apple's looking fine. I think we have a lot of fuel for NASDAQ to go up to new highs. Okay. But over here on SPY, we'll talk about that first, guys. On the upside, we're going to be watching 605 as the next psychological level. That is probably going to be acting as resistance. Okay. And above there, we have 610. I don't think we're just going to run straight to 610. I'm going to, just be blatantly clear on that one. But if you pull back, let's talk about support. 617, 597.28. That's the level I'm going to be paying attention to. It's going to be right around the daily 9 over here. All right. And then you have 595.20, 593.15, 591.04. I don't think we're coming back down there. If you come back down there, that's when you have trouble. That's when you actually do have a double top scenario. And from that point, I won't be surprised if you get something like that. I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay. So as long as, you're holding Honestly, you want to hold anywhere between 593 and 597, but ideally you just get the short-term pullback here to this, daily 9, and then you end up, continuing back off of the races over there. Okay, so that is SPY. I don't think things are looking bad at all. Coming over here to QQQ. All right, let's talk about the close we just got on the week over here, guys. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but in reality, when you typically, have this kind of setup where you have a big week up, you break out on that week, you pull back to test that structure. Okay, I know, we don't have anything on the chart here, but if we put that on, perfect retest of that previous structure there. Okay, typically when you get that and then you start bouncing off of that, and now we have 2 weeks that it's holding, you're going to go back up and take out the high. So I am going to be looking for a new high this week. And if it doesn't happen this week, I'm looking for it next week. Things aren't looking too bad over here in the weekly time frame. You're just kind of grinding higher. But on the daily, this is what I think really does look good over here, okay? I do think it does. And I know we got a lot of clutter going on here. But, resistance, 510.14. Get above 511.45, guys, and you probably have a pretty quick, move up here to 515.58. That is going to be a $4 move right there, 0.8%. I think that is a move that can happen pretty quick. And on the downside of support, guys, we're going to have 507.23, 506.41. From over here. Okay, you can see all the reactions we're having to that level. And then underneath there, 504.26 and 502.78. Guys, if you revisit 502.78 to 504.26 this week, you don't want to see that. Just putting that out there. You do not want to see it. That is going to be right around the 21 EMA over here on the daily time frame. If you lose 502.78, those are line in the sand last time. We had the golden pockets in right there, I believe. Yep. You had the golden pocket. You had key support over there. You had the trend line. So that was, the key spot that we knew we needed to hold. You did get buyers stepping in literally right there this week. You had a lot of confluence going on. If you revisit that level, I'm just going to say, I think it's wraps. I think this thing is going to start actually falling and we get, a larger pullback over here and you at least come down and fill that 592.88 gap. I don't think that's going to be the case. So, I'm going to be focused on the upside, but if we do get a pullback over here, we want to see these things hold, okay? Overall, I think this is a bullish look we got here, but I'm going to focus on the components in this video that I think are going to be, giving NASDAQ that fuel to reach a new all-time high. Coming over here to the next index, IWM. This is one that's looking pretty hairy on the week over here. You closed out with a spinning top candlestick. You got these two upper wicks over here on the daily time frame. I'm just going to show you the 15-minute, okay? From there down to here, you found sellers in the golden pocket, found them over here again. But then from here up to here, you found buyers in the next golden pocket down here, and then you bounced up and found rejection again in the golden pocket. Okay, until you can get over 243.80, do not look for more upside over here. Just look for consolidation or a pullback. If you get above 243.80, look for 244.98 to be tested, and then 250 and then 250. 250 cycle level above there. Okay. On the downside of support, you have 241.61, and then you really just want to see right over here 240.34 hold. Okay. Unless you take out that, and then the golden pocket gets stretched, and it's going to be in a different spot. But for the time being, all right, you watch 243.80, you watch 240.30. As long as you're holding that, you have nothing to worry about. You're just in consolidation mode right now, getting ready for the next move. Don't know which direction it is, but you don't have to concern yourself with chop. You really don't. If you are a short-term trader over here on IWM, you're watching 241.61 as support, 240.66, and then 240.30. That is IWM. But, like I said, weekly candle, it's looking pretty hairy over here. You got this strong reaction we were expecting, and now I'm just going to say pump the brakes, okay? Pump the brakes, take the profits. I know you're up hundreds of percents if you actually played it, as we're calling it out over here. I know you're up big. There's no reason to chase up here when the thing is looking like that. Stay away, okay? Coming over here to DIA. Another nice weekly close over here. You did leave behind the gap. That is going to be a focus here. If we do end up, really pulling back here, there's probably, a spot that is going to be respected. But, I don't like the fact that you just left that gap behind. Okay. I don't like that. But I will say, not a bad week close over here. If you do pull back, look for a higher high or a higher low over there. And then I'm going to be looking for that higher high. All right. So those are the indices, guys. I personally, focus on SPY and QQ because those are the ones that are, really going to be dictating where the market moves. Those are the ones where, the components, the major components that we cover on this channel are going to be influencing. All right. But we will always throw IWM and DIA in there. Okay. I do think there are some small cap setups that are not looking too bad. Small and mid cap setups. I'll point some of them out at the end of the video. Now let's talk about some mega caps. All right, Tesla, guys. I think this kind of got a perfect close this week. This is exactly what I was, looking for once we got yesterday's, lower wick over here stemming from the golden pocket from the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. You reclaim the daily 9. And now, as you can see, you put in a large lower wick. And I have to assume, guys, I mean, I know Tesla, guys, it's coming to a new all-time high sooner rather than later. Trump is going to be inaugurated over in January. Elon is now going to be a part of the government. Okay. Maybe you guys haven't seen them, but I'd be seeing these robots online. Okay. The Tesla bots are looking freaking crazy. Okay. Forgot what they're called. Optimus bots, maybe. I don't even know. But they're looking crazy. Okay. They're like, there's not another company who's actually been able to bring this up. And now, guys, if they're bringing them to market, that is something that can hype the stock. Okay. Regardless, even without those robots I just spoke about, I think Tesla was already going to be coming to all-time highs as Trump, steps into office here. Maybe it does decide to continue consolidating, but I do think, by January, end of January, this thing is probably going to be at a new all-time high, maybe pushing 450. Okay. Not a bad close at all. Again, everything's going to have lower volume. We had 1.5 less trading sessions this week. But, if it does continue to consolidate, I do continue to view it as a buying opportunity. Now, in the short term, above 348.55, you have 361.93, 384.29, and then 414.50 all-time high. Support, 337.70. Underneath there, you're going to be watching where you found buyers the other day, which is right around 330. That's 329.50. That is the golden pocket stemming from here up to here. Okay, you retraced. That was perfect. That's why I call it golden pocket. All right, perfect retracement there. And, honestly, on the daily chart, I do think this is kind of exactly what you want to see. Okay, after a big move, you're just consolidating here, holding your short-term moving average. I'm really liking this. If it does manage to dip down to 299.29 to 313.61, I think that's where we'd have the next, decent-sized bottom there before it going like this. Okay, I think it's either going to do that or it's going to go like that. Okay. Now, Apple, this is what I want to talk about. Amazing close this week. Even with the short week, you got the increasing volume. I think this is probably going to 240, 245, and then 250. All right. You got this massive cup and handle pattern. You can see it pretty clear over here on the daily time frame. Nice cup and handle pattern. You broke out of the downtrend. We pointed this one out. And then you broke above our 230.16 trigger level over here. You retested the next day, and you were off the races. New all-time high was incoming, and now we have that all-time high. I do think this is going higher. If it pulls back over here to 234.73 or 232, that is your buying opportunity over here on Mr. Apple. That's the most recent breakout level right here at 234.73. Maybe the daily 9 played some catch up. You consolidate for a day or two, and then wham, you hit it with another green, move up. Okay, I'm really liking the move of Apple over here, or the look of Apple for that next move. Amazon is another one that it just looks absolutely fantastic. Okay. Buyers did not come down and test my 195.37 level. What did they do? They ended up, I'm out of breath. I always get the hiccups. I'm always out of breath. I'm always trying to, push these videos. Listen, guys, we cover a lot of tickers. So, it takes some time. I'm trying to, I appreciate your time. I don't want to push out, an hour-long video. I don't want to make people wait through that. I want to get it through maybe half an hour. That's our market weekly prep there. And, get the info out to the people if they want to, use it. Okay. But, right over here, guys, you did respect the golden pocket, and now you're pushing back up. And now you have a very bullish look over here on the daily chart. But what I really want to point out is the weekly chart. And this is what I was saying. The major components, we covered Tesla so far. We covered Apple, covered Amazon. We're going to look at Meta, Microsoft, and Google. Guess what? All right. This thing is looking like it wants to drag, NASDAQ a little higher up. Not saying it's, Amazon hits all-time highs, NASDAQ's going with it. It's the components that are going to end up doing it, and this is one of the major components. This thing above 208, you're coming at 212.25, and then you got 215.90. Okay, I see this as a clear as day move up here. Not saying it comes next week, but it's very likely coming next week, and that's the call. Okay, next 1 to 2 weeks, all-time highs very likely over here on Amazon, 215.90 incoming. I like it. Okay, and on the daily time frame, you clearly see the setup over here. Pulled back, rejection off of these daily nines. Okay, well, it's the same daily nine, but in different spots over there. What happened? Golden pocket test, retraced the move, the whole move right there. You retraced it, and then you reclaimed your daily nine, tested it. Okay, confirmed that it was reclaimed, and then bang, you break above 208 next week. Probably gonna get a quick move up to 212.25, and then I'm thinking 215.90 is on the table. That's Amazon. GOOG over here, guys. This is one that I'm just gonna say, I don't know if we're gonna actually come all the way down here to 161.12, 162, 161. I'm not sure if we're gonna get that move down. You just printed your inside bar over here after having your 2 green down weeks over there. Reminds me of something like this over here. I'm not saying that was all she wrote, but let's just point out 1, 2 green bar. Okay. Can we find another scenario like this? 1, 2, 3 green bar. It was the beginning of actually turning around over there. 1, 2 green bar. Typically when you have more than one red bar and you're pulling back over there, and then you hit it with a green inside bar, that's going to mark your short-term low. Okay, so I'm not saying that's the case over here, but I will definitely point out you got above these short-term weekly moving averages right here. You kind of, finding buyers right there on the retest, and you have that inside bar look to you. I'm actually kind of liking the look of that weekly chart, but, is this one I would recommend, focusing on over the other setups that I just clearly point out? Apple and Amazon look amazing. Why would you want to trade this thing when it's underneath the short-term moving averages over here on the daily time frame, and you're coming into that 172.75 retest? All right, I think it is going to retest 172.75 this week, but above there, we're going to have to see what happens. Okay, can you get above there? We don't know. Okay, all right, so maybe it goes something like this. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. Downside, we already know what we're paying attention to. It's down here the low already, 165.31, and then that 161 to 162 spot down here. That's a confluence spot that I think will hold if tested. I don't know if it gets hold or if it gets tested, considering what I just showed you on the weekly time frame. This just isn't typically a look that I see, get faded. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, so that's GOOG. Coming over to Microsoft. I think it's a gnarly look you got over here on the daily time frame. Okay, I see a little mini head and shoulders pattern going on right here. Inverse head and shoulders, I should point out. Okay, I really like the look of this thing. You broke and retested. See how this is your high over here, rejection. You got above it, came up to the golden pocket again, 426.10. Resistance up there where you stalled out both these times over here. See, this is a key spot. Reaction. Well, this is where it was put in the level. Reaction. Sold down through it. We'll call that a reaction. 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 Okay. 426.10 matters. So if you're long in here, use that as you take profit level right there. But I do think this thing is setting up, and if you can, take out this high up here, okay, get above 429.04, I think you're probably going to take out the 0.786 fib finally here at 431.50, we'll call it, and then from that point, probably start trekking back up to all-time highs. All right, I'm really liking how this thing is, or at least trekking back up to 438.50, and then we'll see what happens there above there. Then you can start trekking up back up all-time highs, which at this point is a ways away, guys. Okay, we did just have a bunch of the monthly closes, and I don't think things look terrible. I really don't. I think things look pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna come over to Meta. I like the weekly close on this one, so we'll just point out this. Okay, we pointed this out. Same concept as GOOG. You got the inside bar after that big, red bar there. Hit it with the doji, and now you're back off the races over here. Okay. You're going to be watching the golden pocket for resistance up here. So watch 580.38 to 589 up here for sellers step in. Ideally this level over here at 585 gets tested over here. I'm not going to be touching this, but I will point out you reclaim the short-term moving averages. And as I pointed out in another video, you like to have these big moves. When you're testing, you're right in the middle. Okay. You get through it. You have a big move to the downside. You get back through it. You have a big move to the upside. So, we're right here. I could see something like this going on. So you're watching 580.38 and then 585 this week and then 589. Get above, we'll call it 590. Get above 590. Probably going to start moving back up to all-time high. Support is going to be 572.57, 566.35. All right. Now, chips, guys, I think these are the ones that are really looking good going into this next week. All right. But just a select few, I will point out what I'm watching over here. Okay. Which, if you've been following along with the channel, you knew what I was watching on that dip. You knew what I was liking. And, I'm just going to say things are looking pretty good. Okay. Weekly candle, hammer is a red hammer, but it is a hammer over there. You got the long lower wick going on. I liked how this daily candle printed right here. Okay. Again, if you're longing and you come back in the short-term moving averages, this is one of those TP spots right there. Okay. TP level, TP spot. I personally was doing that over on TSM. I saw you were right there testing the short-term moving. I was like, take off some risks there. But things are looking pretty good over here in the chip sector, guys. If you can get above 248.19 over here on SMH, I think it's going to be looking pretty good. Okay. That's this last little high here. Okay. Right there. If you get above there, I have to imagine you're probably going to start running it up. So let's talk about the big boy, the big chip stock, which is NVIDIA. Okay. One of the most expensive stocks in the stock market right now. I'm not going to call it expensive, but, I'm going to say the market cap wise, it's up there. Okay. You held the weekly 9 EMA over here. You held it. You printed a hammer candlestick off of it with that long lower wick. All right. We liked what we were seeing down over here. Okay. Off of, 132.11 support. You swept that support over there. You didn't test the breakout level at 131.26. That is fine. That is fine. Okay. And why did you have declining volume here, guys? You closed at 1 o'clock instead of 4. So 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's probably why a lot of these have lower volume. All right. Get above these short-term moving averages. We're going to give you a level to watch as well. Get above 140.70. Okay. Get a daily close above there. You're probably going to test 144.42 in the short term. Resistance, 140.70, 144.42, 149.77, and then 152.89. Guys, I will not be surprised if this thing, runs back up the highs. But I will also point out what we just closed out with the month with. It's not the prettiest thing. I would not be surprised to see a, long-legged doji print the following month, just like we had right over here. And you got a bunch of consolidation after that. Okay. Do you see how there's declining volume here? That's also not what you want to see. You don't want to see less participation as prices rise. You just don't. Okay. That is something to point out and something definitely to note. That's NVIDIA. Coming over here to AVGO, guys. You also hit it with the, lower wick over here. You got a pin bar candlestick. You're holding support over there, 160.41 for the second week in a row. And I will point out in, Wednesday's candlestick over here, where did we actually close out the daily RSI? In that spot that over the last 1.3 years, you have gotten your bounces. Okay. Come over here. Come there. Okay, guys, that's like kind of 1.5 years. It's 1.3 years, but, that is exactly what I was looking for to finally be tested. And after that, I was saying you're probably within like 2 or 3 trading sessions, you probably get a quick snap back of like, 10 to 20 bucks. So far, we're up only $5. So guys, I do think we're going to come up to 170 this week and potentially 173.37. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Okay. Yeah. AVGO earnings in 2 weeks. All right. On the 12th. I do think we're probably going to run up into those earnings. So that is what I'm watching over here on AVGO. If it does decide that, downside is not, all in yet, we don't have a bottom in, you're watching over here at 155. But, I'm going to be watching these resistance levels because of what I just mentioned on the daily RSI. I've been waiting for this. Okay. So you got 160.41 support, 155, resistance is 165.80, 169.87, 173.37, and then 180, 180.23. TSM, guys. Okay, I gave a sneak peek earlier. Right here, weekly time frame. You just missed the 0.618 fib down there, but that is for this whole last leg up. Okay, this whole move up right there. You got that. We're going to take off that. And guys, you have this controlled selling going on here after that, impulsive rip up. Guess what? You just bring the hammer candlestick off the weekly 21. You're right in between that and the 9 EMA. If you can get above the 9 EMA here, I think you're probably going to start flying. Okay, so reclaim 187.66. That's what I'm going to be looking for, a quick move up to 193.47. Okay, I can see this happen in 1 to 2 weeks. You get back up here. I really like the look of this thing over here. Okay, but right now you're right at the short-term moving average, so you want to get above 187.66. Get above it, get a daily close above it. We probably are going to start pushing up here to 193.47 from this high over here. ARM, okay, weekly candle is a doji. I'm not going to say there's much of anything going on over here. I did like how Wednesday's candle printed over there. You did end up, getting a little more upside, but you rejected your, short-term moving averages right here. And that's not really what you want to see, okay? So, I think chips overall, the weekly charts suggest we probably do have a bottom in, at least for the short term here. We probably are going a little higher. But at the end of the day, we are seeing a bunch of consolidation around these short-term moving averages, and those are going to need to be, reclaimed before you can really start getting, a trending move going. On a lot of these things, you're still underneath. So, you can't really expect too much in the short term. But I will just bring it back over to SMH. This thing looks pretty gnarly. NVDA looks pretty gnarly without closed out. All right. Pretty darn good to me over there. AVGO does not look so bad. TSM looks pretty darn gnarly to me. I would be surprised if this gets faded right away. I really would. I think we'll probably get, a bit more of a bounce here. And then you got things like ARM. ARM is doing a whole lot of nothing. We're not going to be covering MU or AMD anymore. We're going to leave them alone until they start looking better. I'll cover the chips that I like over here. And the next one we're going to be talking about is INTC. I like the close over here on INTC, right around 24 bucks. You came all the way down to like 23 bucks this week, and you saw a recovery. Again, you're right at the short-term moving averages. I think we're probably going to see, a gap up or some type of move. Get over here. And then from that point, we're watching 24.77, 25.61, and then we'll be watching this high over here at 26.43. As you see, we got a little flag action going on. You pull back in a controlled manner over here to the 0.618 fib, as well as the breakout level and that lower trend line right there. And I will not be surprised if you push up to this upper trend line here. And if you get the breakout, at that point, we get the larger scale move starting up. Okay, so that's INTC over there. Now we're going to talk about the Bitcoin stocks. Okay, guys, so Bitcoin, we'll start with the big boy. I am a fan of how this is looking, but I will also point out how, extended you are to this weekly 9. Okay. I talk about this a lot of the time. And, when we are extended, I talk about this when I see this thing a lot of the time. When we are extended, do not expect, massive moves. Typically, you'll get consolidation or a pullback, and then this thing will meet you halfway and will get closer to price. You see how you had a big move up, pretty extended. You consolidate for a week. Well, it moved from over here all the way up to here. And the next week, it really just caught up because you continue that move. So I won't be surprised to see another, consolidation week over here on Bitcoin. Don't expect much in the short term. Just my opinion. Okay. But let's talk about some of these setups. RIOT is not looking bad. Pulled back to that weekly 9. Found buyers off of it this week. And it is, continuing to try and move up here. I really just like this weekly chart over here, though. Against this trend line, you're really trying. Okay. And where did I get this from? Monthly. Okay. You're just really trying to break out here. You got a heavy volume here on the month, and you're right at that downtrend. I think you're probably going to break it in over the, coming 1 to 2 weeks and really start a move up over here. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Mara. Okay. So Mara is the one I really like over here. I don't like how you closed out today. I'm going to be straight up. I think you're going to get a pullback in the short term over here. And that supports, Bitcoin consolidating or pulling back. Okay. But this is the one I like. This, you got the breakout. As long as you continue to hold this trend line over here, I think it is definitely going to be a buying opportunity. Even if you pull back over here, I think it does create a buying opportunity. Would you want to see a 50% move from top to bottom to the, or, a 35% move? No, you would not. Okay. But at the end of the day, that's going to be where the short-term moving average is. That's going to be where you broke out from. So, down here is probably going to mark out a buying opportunity as well if it comes. But, I like how you're just consolidating above here. And if I was going to play Bitcoin on this next move up, which I don't think is happening right now, I'm gonna pick Mara over here. Okay, that's Mara. You got MSTR looking pretty hairy in my personal opinion. Again, just expect consolidation on these things, guys. There's no reason to rush into these. I pointed out coming into this week, you don't typically get these two back-to-back doji candlesticks and then push up off of it. Okay, you don't. You pull back or consolidate some more. Okay, pull back right here. Pull back. We have another one. You got that, and then you pull back, but those weren't indecision candlesticks right there. You see what I'm saying, okay? So don't expect much. Maybe you continue consolidating. Maybe continue holding this 272.55 to 283.48 breakout zone. And maybe you consolidate around here for another 2 weeks. And this bad boy over here, the weekly 9, catches up to price. And then maybe you can get, a cleaner look to you. But as of right now, I see no reason to really rush things. I do think this thing is consolidating in like a flag-like manner above the breakout level, which I really like. But I won't be, surprised because of that weekly chart and what Bitcoin's doing to see some more consolidation here. Don't be rushing into these things right now. There's no real reason to. Okay? You got a really big move up, and I hope you caught it. But, if you played any of this, I gave my warning. I was like, hey, I think it's not time to focus on crypto stocks right now. I think it's time to, pump the brakes over there and focus on some other things. And guess what? We were completely right about it. You have been consolidating, doing absolutely nothing. Do not have FOMO on this thing right now. It will have another trending move, and that's not right now. I'll point out when that happens, okay? You got CLSK doing the same thing over here, just consolidating. I do like how it's consolidating, though. It's a little flag, okay? You're building that thing out. Break and retest action. Found buyers off the golden pocket over here. Sellers off of this one again. Break that trend line there. Get above 15 bucks. I think, excuse moi, just ate. I had pancheros. Get above this trend line over there, and I do think this thing has some, shot at, pushing back up here to 1797. But at the end of the day, it's going to move with Bitcoin, and I just pointed out the thoughts on Bitcoin. Expect consolidation. Expect more consolidation, okay? Now we're going to talk about some trade ideas going into the following week. I'm going to point to some weekly charts over here. Rivian, guys, broke out of this massive downtrend. You're above your short-term moving averages here. I am personally going to be looking for a move up here to 1472 to like 1530. That's what I think is coming over here. Increasing volume on this week to support this candlestick. On the short week, I think we're going higher from here. That's Rivian. Okay. Roblox is another one that I really think is setting up over here. Big, 2-year breakout over here. 3-year breakout over here. You broke out from this consolidation. But you also had this shorter term. It's still, it took really long to put this in, about a year to put in this inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the weekly time frame. Pull back to the weekly 9 and the breakout level. Okay. And now you are, looking like you want to start running again. You pump the brakes on the selling over here. And typically when you have bullish structure over here and then you print that first green candlestick just like that, you're going to start running it up. I'm not talking the bearish structure. You get that. You get a little dead cat bounce action. You get that. I'm talking the bullish structure. We haven't had this happen in a while over here. We are now seeing it happen. Okay. And I do think this is probably going to be the weekly candle right here before you get one of these guys. Okay. Or it happens in the next, 1 to 2 weeks. I think we probably have a 10 to 20% weekly candle loading over here. Okay. And if you get one that's 10% and it pushes back up to the high and closes up there, the following week is probably going to be that, the rest of that 20% move right there. I think this is worth keeping, your eyes on. Keep it on your radar. I really like how this is looking. Next one we're talking about is BA over here. I shared my thoughts in the last video on this one. Coming into today, it was getting a little peekaboo action. It was showing the relative strength while the market was down. I'm really liking how this is looking. I hate to freaking say it. But, get above 157.66. We could see, how important that is over here on the weekly time frame. Get above there. You probably do get a quick move up here to 163.44. And that is where the 0.618 fib is. Don't expect much. All right. Once you get up here. So this is the move you're looking for right there. But don't expect much once you get up to 163.44. If you can get above 170, that's when this thing probably can actually start flying again. Okay, but I'll put it on your radar. I put it on the other day. We got that move I spoke of above, 153.28. Quick move up to 157.66. I know you missed it by a couple cents. I was 157.50. We pointed out 157.66. My apologies, 16 cents off. But it is what it is. Come over to KO, guys. You pull back. You got that pullback I spoke about in the previous video. All right. You're now at the daily 9. If you pull back a little further, you're watching 6318. But, I won't be surprised if you start getting buyers stepping right over here. I like how the weekly, chart was setting up over here. Okay. I think you might have, just had a quick pit stop over here before you come up and, test 65.47 and then 66.58. I'm personally not going to be playing this one just because this is, it's not the most bullish out of everything I just tested or, went over there. We have some clear as day, very bullish setups, and I think it's best to focus on those, but I will keep KO on your radar over here because I do think a larger recovery can happen. Okay. But am I going to be touching this one again? No, I took my swing at this week, took very small profits off it, and I'm just going to leave it alone now. I pointed out, guys, honestly, Apple, if that dips, Amazon, something I'm going to be focused on this coming week. Tesla, of course. All right. I told you guys about, I think it's a move. All right. May calls, guys. May 400C. They moved quite a bit today, but in reality, guess what? They're going for $3,500. You get to move to all-time highs, guys. That's like an easy double. Get buy a few of those, like that's your payday. I just spoke about, I don't want to be a Tesla fanboy or nothing like that, but I see it as a clear as day move. Okay. And I'll point out things like that. I hope you guys benefit off of these. Got some nice heartwarming messages with going a lot of money today. And I was happy to see it. I love helping people, and I love helping people honestly make that money. Okay. If you can make, there's one guy shared like 10 grand today. One guy showed I think it was 4K on the day. I got, 2 Twitter messages. These guys, these warm my freaking heart. Please, reach out. If you're making money off my analysis, hey, please reach out. Let me know. I love knowing that I'm helping people. Okay. But, come over here to Nike. Guys, this is one that I do actually, I do like this guy over here. I think you're probably going to continue this earnings run up here into, 79.93. And then above that level, you have absolutely nothing. You come up here to 82.42. I think you have this pull back to the short-term moving averages here. I think you're getting ready to have, a nice green candlestick. Maybe you hit it with a gap up on Monday. Not sure, but I'm keeping this on my radar. Next one we'll talk about is Uber over here, guys. If you see the pullback into 69.87, that's your first, spot that I'm expecting a sign of life from buyers over there. And then if you really can take out 73.63, that's when I think this thing totally turns around. And then you get a trending move starting up, and you can look for a move up to $77 in the short term. That's what I'm watching over on Uber. Worst case scenario, you come down here, and this is where, long term buy down here. That makes sense to me. RK, guys, this is one that, momentum is here. I will point out the horrendous looking volume, but again, short trading session on Friday. Get above 58.38. We're watching for 60.42, and it's 63.25. I do think 70 is incoming. Okay, and you could see peeking its head up there, a little peekaboo action. Okay, we were bullish on the retest. We called that out beforehand. Okay, when you were up here, we're calling this level right here, 53.86. That was what we were paying attention to. Bounce right off of there, and you've grinded higher. I think this is probably getting ready for another, crazy move up like that. And I think, 63.25 is definitely doable. I like it. But, if you continue to dance around here, it's going to create more of a buying opportunity. And then, probably over the next 1-2 months, you do see a crazy move. I don't know when that's exactly going to come, but I really like what's going on over here. This is one I really like what's going on with. Okay. You is looking fantastic. Okay. I would have preferred you to close out right up here today. You did not. Okay. You did not. But I will point out, weekly chart, this is exactly what we were looking at. Okay. You get one of these. You get the consolidation. You get another extension candlestick. That is what I think just happened. You get one of these. You get the consolidation. You get another extension candlestick. Okay. I think that is literally what is happening right here. You consolidated, found buyers for, 2 or 3 trading sessions off of, the breakout level up here. I'm liking how this looks. Get above 2503. Okay. That's where you kind of, made your spot right there. Actually, where did I get that level from? Why? Oh, it's right over there. Okay. We're going to take that out. And we're going to make it that. Okay. And then we're going to have a new one right here. Get above 2485, this week's high. Look for a move up 2559 and then 2713. And then my target up there at 39.2. That's the final target. But, 2713 first. That's a target. All right. Anyone who's buying with us over here, okay, guess what? You're going to be up, you're going to be up real pretty up at 27 bucks, but you're up hundreds of percents up here if it, really has a big week up here to 30 bucks. You're going to be up hundreds of percents. And that is that on the January calls. Upstar is another one that looks similar to RK. You're just consolidating. You don't have the crazy momentum right now, but you're consolidating. It looks like you are getting ready for another one of those moves. And I'm watching it. Okay. Watch for move up to the highs at 86.07. LLY, this one I really like the weekly chart over here. I think it's looking juicy for a test of the short-term moving average up here, which, guys, that is going to be $30 to $50 higher. You get a month out, that's going to, yield you 50 to 100% right there. You play it safe 2 months out, that's still going to yield you 30 to 50% right there. I do think a larger scale recovery is probably in play right here. Okay. I think it can take time, but as you can see, same exact spot, same spot, same spot, same spot, same spot, same spot. Larger scale freaking recovery is in motion over here, and it can take time, but I think you're probably just going to grind higher. All right. And, 3 months, maybe you get a $150 move. Okay. From the low over there. That would only be right here. All right. Regardless, percent wise, we're talking big percents. Okay. That was 3 months right there. 44%. Okay. Give us that. You're up at a new high. That's 300 bucks in your direction. Okay. $1,000 probably incoming over the coming, 2 to 3 months. That's what I'm calling for. I think you're probably going to, have this grind action, or you start having these breakaway gaps. At some point, things are going to probably heat up over here on LLY. So I'll keep it on your radar. I called it out right at the bottom. Called it out for this dead cat bounce that gets sold off down to the zone. We called that out ahead of time. Why? Because, exactly what I have right over here. You get the same thing. It was actually off the daily RSI that told me that was probably going to be the case. Oh, where did our chart go? Oh, where'd you go, buddy? Oh my God. What did I do to you? What did I do? I crushed you. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. But yeah, I'm looking for short term over here. Probably do just kind of grind through that and start heading up to the highs. SMCI, guys, don't like that weekly, but I like the daily. Okay, you either find buyers right over here, or you're going to hit my alert down here at 28 bucks. And then you want to hold 26, 25 to 28 bucks. And if you don't, things are looking hairy again. But as of right now, rejection at the 21, got above it. Now you're retesting both the short-term moving averages after, rejecting where you broke down from at 38.28. Get above, 38.28, you probably start pushing up to this 46.75 gap. And then I will be liking that. But, I'm not really going to be playing this thing. I just thought I'd put it on your radar because I did notice the setup when I was doing my scan for this video. We'll call it some China stocks, guys. I like the weekly candle. Okay. Same concept I was pointing out on Roblox. I'm not going to call this a controlled selling manner. Okay. It's kind of the same exact manner you went up with. But I will point out, first green candlestick after, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. You probably get another green week after that. Short term, I do think we're going to come up here and test, 90, 46 right there. That's going to be right around the weekly short-term moving average to the 21, the 9. Expect reaction here, but, if you are a short-term trader, that is a trade idea for you. Nice $3 to $4 move over there. That'll pay. Okay? Baidu, same concept over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Finally got one. It's coming right at support, guys. You swept support. You probably got, people involved down here that didn't take profits. Okay. Or that's what's causing this. People are taking profits regardless. Okay. Buyer stepped in right where, no matter what caused the buyer step in, whether it was shorts covering or not, buyer stepped in right where they needed to, right at support. Okay. Daily RSI. You got pretty close to oversold territory over there. And first green week. Same thing as Bob over there. I do think you're about to get, nice $3 to $4 move to the upside over here. You're going to test 88.58 resistance where you broke down from. And above there, you're going to watch right here at 94.57. But, this is specifically for the short-term traders who, want to take a stab at it. Probably do get another green week just like that. Okay. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but if you are a short-term trader and you are someone who plays weeklies or, 2 weeks out, that is probably going to pay a decent amount right there for you. So that one's for you. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Just a reminder, last night is the last night to, use the Black Friday code if you want 50% off of your first payment. To that, if you are someone who struggles with options, okay, if you're someone who cannot, have that consistency with your options, I will show you how I do in real time. Link will be down below for that, but tonight is going to be the last night. That'll be expiring over there at midnight. So just a reminder there. But I appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate your time. I know we still came out with a 45-minute video. I was trying to make it quicker, but, I can only lose my breath so much. It is what it is. But, yeah, I do appreciate your time. If you enjoyed the video and, you're making money off my analysis, please remember to leave that like. It does, show your support over here. Puts a smile on my face and, puts a smile on the YouTube algo's face when looking at my channel. It's like, oh, let's get more people smiling. Let's push it out. But, yeah, guys, if you're not following the Twitter, I'll post some charts this weekend over there on the Twitter that I think you'll be rather fond of. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next one, which will be on Monday. Everybody have a lovely rest of their weekend. Let's kill it next week. And peace.